Well, good morning. It is Monday, the 28th of June 2021. We've had a little bit of rain here overnight, but not enough really. Really heavy rain was forecast and it doesn't seem to have materialised, which is a bit of a shame in some ways because the world could do with being washed clean. It's still cloudy, although occasionally there seems to be like a golden glow of light. It's just past 8 o'clock, so it's well past sunrise, but it's still really, really breezy, and there's quite a chillness in the air for this time of year. It's lovely, it's fresh, is the best way of saying it. According to my computer at the moment, the weather forecast is suggesting that it's 13 degrees Celsius with rain showers. I'm not sure about the rain showers, but it certainly is nicely cool. It's a comfortable temperature for me. If I start with these, I started filming these yesterday and I got myself into such a pickle with colours running one into another and over bleeding. I was trying to pick things up and in the end I just gave up. I was starting to swear, which is never very good. But I thought I'd return to them today because I'm not one to give up ordinarily easily, although I was tempted to, but I have got a plan, sort of, I think, to help with some of the worst areas. But I just want to go back with some of the colours I was using yesterday. It was this bug I had the worst trouble with. I just wasn't leaving everything to dry long enough. And that's because I've been working on the mixed media paper, the Canson Imagine, where things dry really quickly because that's the nature of the paper, whereas this is pure cotton paper and things really don't dry all that easily. My plan is something that I sort of picked up from Le Pan in the domestic course I've started, though not done much of. And it's about using jelly roll pens, coloured jelly rolls, to fill in details or add highlights and so on. Now, I don't have many jelly roll colours. I've got white and I've got white. I have got metallics, but I haven't got any of the plain colours. I've got stardust and, souffles and the odd glaze here and there. But so I've dug out some souffles because I thought the souffles could work really nicely for the bug's eyes. And of course these are brand new because they've been in my stash for a number of months. There we go. But I thought these could work really nicely for the bug's eyes. Mind you, the glaze would as well. Because these pens dry with a three-dimensional quality to them. In fact, the glaze may be better than the souffle because I think this... can't remember if the souffle dry with a more matte finish and the glaze dry with a shiny one. But either way, they should work. And I just thought that it would be a nice way to get the eyes in, and I won't have any seepage from the eyes or black going anywhere. But there's also that quality, that dimensional quality that they lend. They do take a little while to dry. These pens are unusual in that the ball acts like a bit like a valve, and it allows, like a bit like a valve, it acts like a valve. And so it allows ink to flow when you put pressure on it. But it's not a case of the more pressure you put on, the more ink you get. It's the opposite. With a very light touch, you get more ink flowing out than with a heavy touch. So those eyes will look great. And I've also dug out some colours here because I thought it could be interesting to add some colours to the to places like this. Now then, hopefully this will work because the lid wasn't on all that tight. I'm sure it will. Maybe it's a bit more coaxing. If it doesn't, it's fine. I can use a different one. That should be all right. Go. just thought this could be perhaps a bit of a solution to some of my issues, or a different way of adding colours. But that should play really nicely with that bright pink. It's a lovely, I don't know, minty green, jadey green, I don't know. I thought that'd be quite nice. And I could potentially do the same here with the orange, these orange blobs here. But the other nice thing about these is when you use them, while they're still wet, you can blend one into another, but I do have a yellow actually. So let me just put some of this down, because they don't dry very quickly, which is the lovely thing about them. For this, I think. If I remember rightly, the souffles do dry opaque. I could be wrong, but they may pick up colour from the watercolour as well. I don't really know for sure, is the honest answer there. But let's have a look and see if I can get this yellow to blend into the orange. I'm sure I can, because I'm kind of stippling it in. This is an experiment for me. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but it's a way I may rescue this work. And it may be a way that I can use to protect small areas from watercolour, because once these dry, and you can see how light that is drying, so it's not a black souffle, it's grey. Should have got a what's it out glaze pen, a black glaze, but hey ho, I can always go over that because they do stick to one to another once they dry. But it could be interesting to add these in small areas and then watercolour around them, because these will, when dry, resist the watercolour. They're really strange inks because they dry almost like a plastic, and then not easily moved, to be honest with you. Now then, I didn't do one here, but that's okay. Though I haven't drawn. Can you tell my brain isn't working? I woke up with headache again today. I didn't sleep very well overnight. So that could work quite nicely. So they will take a little while to dry. And you can see these are beginning to dry here. So what looked really dark is drying much lighter around the edge. So they do take a little while to dry. So I'm sorry. My ability to speak has left me. So the order of the day today is going to be headache pills soon. I've got a mug of tea here. And just see how this works, because these are nice pens that, yeah, they do dry matte, so the souffles would be better in many ways, but yeah, it is what it is. And if I really like them, then I can always get some of the coloured jelly rolls or coloured glaze pens. I know I've got glaze pens in my stash, but they are old, the coloured ones. So I did get this red metallic one out, and I'm just wondering how that will look. I am a bit of a corvid. You know, magpies are credited with stealing shiny things, and they don't actually steal them, they take them and hide them, because apparently it's shiny objects scare them. Who'd have thought? But apparently so. And this metallic is drying quicker than the souffles. But I think the souffles are designed to dry quite slowly. I'm surprised they're not drying with a dome on. It may be the paper, because normally they do dry with that kind of dome on them. What I'm going to do here, while these are just still slightly damp, this isn't a Sakura pen, this is a Uniball metallic or glitter pen, which I actually love and I don't use often enough in anything. I'm just dotting some in while this is still damp, so the colours will mix, so it adds that extra bit of sparkle and shine, which actually is working nicely. And the hope is that this will make the glitter ink perhaps a bit more waterproof, because the metallics are. So I don't know if you can see. If I move it up, it will take a moment. See how shiny that is? That's actually quite nice. And then the others, the grey on the eyes has dried dull and flat. Yeah, so I really do need a black glaze, but I haven't got one here. So while these are drying over here, I'm going to do some work on this buggy boo here. And said yesterday I really did have this disaster constantly, where I think I was using, I darn well know I was using ink that was just too wet. Paint. And I wanted it to spread, but it was spreading in places where I didn't want it to spread, and mixing. And I want it to bleed wet into wet, but not as much as it did. And I think part of the things I need to learn is to allow things to be imperfect with watercolour. I know that if you use dry brushing and controlled glazes, you can work in a very, very controlled manner. But I like that kind of fluid flow as well, that unexpectedness, the organic nature of things. But I still want to have some level of control over it. And I haven't really worked with watercolours enough to know how to get that to work for me, I suppose is the best way of saying. How much water I need on different papers, how wet it needs to be, how long I need it to dry before I can get those flowy effects I like. It's all a bit of a mystery to me, and I did get really frustrated with this yesterday, and with my brush work, because my brush was going all over the place, and it seems to be not that brilliant today. But if it's not that brilliant today, then I'm going to take this as an opportunity to experiment and not worry too much. Correction, not be invested in a perfect outcome, I think would be a good way of describing that. Is being able to say, right, what is the purpose of this here and now? What are my aims with this? Am I looking for perfect artwork that I could frame and sell or whatever? No. I'm not a master of watercolour in any way, shape or form, and partly this is for fun, and partly it's also to learn the technique so that perhaps I can apply it to creating artwork. Little small artworks, little precious things that could potentially be a source of income. I don't know, because I don't know. I'm very hard on myself, always have been. And where others might see the value in something, I don't necessarily agree or see it in the same way, which is the nature of humanity. We are all different and unique, and our viewpoints are different and unique. And there's nothing wrong in that. unless it causes harm to others. You know, that's my caveat. Do as you will, as long as it causes no harm. I've managed to drop too much water in there, but that's fixable, and it'll be what it will be. What it will be. So these are going to be blooming garish. I'm not keen on that green there, but that's okay because I can either add green on top because it's dried. So let's have a go with, I think I used this one, did I? No, I didn't. Put a different colour on top. More yellowy green. Might have it shining a bit more, we'll see. Right, how are these doing? That's dry, that one's not. That may be dry. Okay, so I've got yellowy greens, and what colour will go with yellowy greens? Don't know. Let's keep it. Let's go with, yeah, that could be nice. This is a quinacridone Crimson Lake, which is one of my favourite colours, I think. So let's see how that looks. Yeah, yeah, it's going to be good. The other thing I'm doing is I'm using a smaller brush than I did yesterday. Actually, this is still a size 2, but it was a different type of brush yesterday. And I think I just had way too much paint on it. So let's have a look and do the other side. I can see, I don't know if you can see, that this is resisting the watercolour, which is blooming fantastic. Okay, and that's the quinacridone Crimson Lake, but I do want a different colour to be added in there. Now, do I go to the Bright Opera? I think I may, because this Bright Opera is that howling bright pink that you can see in this bug here. It's really, really garish and it's lovely. Yes, I like that. My buggers are going to be garish. Working with this, I'm beginning to wonder whether I ought to dip into the realms of gouache at some time. Gouache, however it's said. Seems to be so many ways of pronouncing it. Oh, that will be quite garish here. Now I'm trying to pick up quite a bit of colour and pigment in the paint. So they've got a really deep, intense colour when it dries. Because watercolour does dry lighter than it is when it's wet, which is fine. It is what it is, and it's learning to work with that as well. It's being used to things like ink tents, where they, now that has sort of like stayed on top of the ooh, now that's really going to be howling when it dries, which is fine. When it dries, I can just lift that off with a, well, not even when it dries, I can just take a brush in and lift it off the jelly roll, because it won't stick, it won't adhere in any kind of way, shape or form. So yesterday was a bit of a, ooh, wrong side. It doesn't matter because we're going to be adding the pink into this. I'm not going to be fussy and pick it up or anything. This is just learning how paint works for me. So yesterday I think I was out of sorts because Saturday I didn't do anything much in the way of art. I did go out for a walk because it was lovely, it was fresh, it was a beautiful breeze, and I just wanted to shift my body. Well, that came to an abrupt end because I wasn't looking where I was putting my feet because I had my camera with me and I was looking for photographic opportunities as I went on my walk, went about my walk, and I fell over. So I've cut a knee, landed slap down, bang down on my knees. But what caused me to fall, I put a foot down on something that was uneven and twisted over on my foot. So one knee's, my left knee has got big holes in the knees. I say big holes. I've got a few cuts, ashes on there. Just scabbed over, they're healed. There's no problem there. This is familiar to me, but my foot is still painful. And it shook me up a bit actually, because Saturday I was just out of sorts then. You know, sort of like yesterday then, the jolt means that parts of me started aching that don't normally ache, you know, muscles in my legs and hips and arms, you know, from the force of stopping my fall. My camera wasn't damaged in any way, which is a good thing. But I think the bag I was using had me out of balance because I had everything over one shoulder and on one side. And there was a lot of weight in my bag, so my camera, my purse and other bits and bobs that I have to carry with me, like an emergency asthma inhaler in case I have an asthma attack and things like that. So once I'd fallen over, I made my way back to the car because there was no way I was going to limp round the rest of my walk, and came home, blood dribbling down my knee and my leg, and cleaned myself up and just took some time to keep my feet up and look after myself really. And Sundays are funny days for me because I have meetings to go to on Sundays. Not work meetings or anything like that, just gatherings of people of similar minds, meditation kinds of things. And it was lovely, absolutely lovely. That tends to eat into my day a little bit, but I still managed to sit, and I inked in, I think it was 3 templates yesterday and corrected 2. Made some minor corrections, minor edits on 2 that were requested. So that's good. And I think today I'm going to try to get some of the others inked in. And I can tell you what the book is now because it's out there in the wild. It's available for pre-order. It's 6 months away before it is published. But my next book is Whimsical Cats. So all the templates in the colouring book are cat themed. And I've had a lot of fun doing this. It's typically me, but not typically me at the same time, I think. I've had a lot of fun. And I've got a few left to do. I think I've got about 7 left to do out of the 31. And I need to check what they've said on the description of the book to see what I need to include so that people don't come expecting one thing and get something else, because that's never good. And though the description was written before I actually did all of the artwork, which is often the case, the cover's always the very first piece of artwork to be done. So if you want to have a look, then just pop along to Amazon and look for Whimsical Cats by me, Angela Porter. And you can see the cover, which hopefully is fun and playful, and it has my kind of style, that sort of doodle worldsy kind of style, cuteness to kittens and cats. And it's really been lovely to have the templates described as adorable by the editorial team. So I'm really quite happy with all of this. And we've already talked about the theme for the next book, which I'm not going to tell you because I don't like to until it's out there, really. And also, there's no contract been signed for the next book and the theme, because the theme may change depending on suggestions and ideas and other things that may come in. So I might say, oh, the next one's going to be this, and then I'm going to have to go, oh no, it's not. So now it's out. Once I've got the all the templates done and I'm colouring, I'll be doing some sneak peeks, no doubt. Not whole templates, but just little bits, because once they're all drawn, then I have 3 that need to be coloured in as examples to go into the book. And that means that I let the editorial team pick, because and they find it hard. They tell me always there's lots of arguments over which ones, and I just like to colour in too many of them. I can't make my mind up, so I'm quite happy to let other people take that responsibility, to be honest with you. And it is a heck of a responsibility. There we go. Yeah, I'm definitely going to go over those eyes with a black glaze pen. So I've been wittering away for the best part of half an hour here. I haven't got a lot of art done, because watercolour, I think the skills to watercolour is learning not to rush everything. Because it's just taking that time to let things dry as they need to. Before going next time, and I think that was part of my problem yesterday. I knew that I had a limited amount of time in the day to get stuff done, especially as Saturday had been a day where I'd hoped to get some inking done, but that fall just scuppered my whole plans, really. But it is what it is, and things happen, and you know, it happens. A lesson to me to watch where I'm putting my feet in the future, especially as I knew that particular path, because I walk that path regularly when I go to go to this local cemetery for my walk. I know it's wibbly and wobbly, and I always look at the ground to check where I'm putting my feet, because I've nearly come a cropper a number of times there. It's nobody's fault but my own. I'm aware of it. It's not anybody's fault. It's just an accident, and it's no serious damage done. It just means a few days of taking care of myself and healing as I need to. Pop that there, because there was a white gap there. That's a blooming garish bug. I wonder if things would think, oh, pretty, let's eat it, or oh, let's stay away from that. That's poisonous as anything. So I think I'm going to leave that here for now. It's been half an hour and I've done a bit of work and talked my way through it. I've got all the tools out I want to use. Well, I've got them all here, so I shall pop them away so I can work digitally. But I'll just say thank you for joining me for my morning ramble and a little bit of art. I may continue with this tomorrow's video, but perhaps make it a time lapse if I've got a bit more, if I feel I've got a bit more time, a bit more with it. But thanks for joining me. Thanks for sticking through to the end. Likes and subscribes are always welcome. Not begging for them. but just saying if you'd like to, it would be appreciated. As would any comments. There's been some lovely comments this weekend and questions, and I'm always happy to answer questions and always grateful to receive comments or advice or anything really. You know, positive, you know, criticism. Sorry, I'm closing things up. Leave it alone, Angela. Criticism, when it's done with the aim of helping somebody improve, is welcome. It's that positive, helpful feedback that's needed, rather than negative, pulling everything to part and telling you it's dreadful, because there's always, you know, what's dreadful when it comes to art. It's people's personal preference. And as I said, I'm learning watercolour, so doing my best to learn watercolour, how it works for me. I think I'm beginning to get there today with letting one wet area bleed into another wet area, and that seems to be working better for me in a more controlled manner. But I do like the use of these jelly roll pens, or the glaze, the souffle. And by tomorrow you'll have black eyes on all these bug shiny ones, because I'll go and find a glaze pen now. So thank you anyway. I'm wittering. I should have finished, and I'll just say thank you very much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day or days ahead, and take opportunities to be creative, whatever creativity means for you, and do it just for joy, for pleasure, for no other reason. And I'll say thank you. Bye bye for now.